Hey guys, this is Tanya with Tinkerin' in Ink with Tanya. I hope you enjoy this video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this background that can look like water ripples, a starry sky, or a galaxy background. So this card did not start with a plan. This card started with a stencil. I got the Water Ripples stencil from Gina Marie Designs, and I always have to say that slowly because it always wants to come out Gina K. Anyway, I got this stencil because I just discovered Gina Marie Designs, and I only paid like $3 for it, and I wanted to play. So I pulled this piece of blue not fabric, cardstock, out of my scrap bin that was sitting on my desk. And I use some pixie spray on the back of the stencil the first time I do this. And I start blending on some Distress Oxides in peacock feathers. And I think I'm using Mermaid Lagoon here. Yes. And I want to do an aquatic background. Just because. I mean, it says water ripples, right? And I want some foam on there, some white spray on the ocean. I'm tapping on the back of this because I think that there's too much paint on there. And I was using Distress Oxide Picket Fence spray. And then I switched to add some spatter with some, I believe this is white. It's Hero Arts Shimmer ink, shimmer paint. Anyway, I use this palette for all of those kinds of things, all of those shimmer paints and glimmer inks and all of those kinds of things that I like to splatter with or add dabs, add a little bit of painting with. And it dries out and it's fine. I just reconstitute it with a little bit of water with a ink or a paintbrush and spatter. And you'd think that I wouldn't be able to take that distress spray. Boy, I am having troubles with that word today. You'd think I'd have troubles getting it off of the stencil, but it's easy. It is clearly water soluble yet. And then after I clean off the stencil, because I was worried it was going to wreck my stencil if I left it on there, I decided to heat set my cardstock. But the Picket Fence ink was pretty much dry anyway. It just has a nice sheen to it. It doesn't hurt anything to heat set it, but it didn't really do anything for it either. The Hero Arts Glimmer ink dried well also. Here I was showing you that I'm using peacock feathers, Mermaid Lagoon, and Faded Jeans Distress Oxide inks. Boy, I think I said it this time. To create a ink blended panel that I'm going to use behind the water ripples background panel. And I'm just ink blending away here. I think it only took me a couple of minutes to do that entire panel. I'm pretty fast at this, and I have gotten a couple sets of makeup brushes that are never cleaned. I don't ever clean them. They are just labeled for the color that they are going to be used for, and it doesn't really matter that I switch between actual blues for the blue brush or the greens or the teals for the teal brush. It doesn't contaminate the ink pads and it works beautifully. And you know what? I ink blend a whole lot more now that I don't have to clean the brushes. So I just go back and blend those until they're as smooth as I would like them, and then I am comparing them to the panel that I had created. Oh wait, this isn't the background. This not the background panel. This is another try at this. I decided to try to see what it would look like if I ink blended with those colors before I used the stencil. And you're looking at this thinking, why are you putting a stencil over a much larger piece of paper? That is a 5.5 by 8.5 inch panel. I really enjoy making 5 by 7 cards. Part of that is because I have more room to play, and I achieve better balance on my cards with a 5x7 card. And honestly, people who are purchasing cards like 5x7 cards better in my experience than the 4.25 by 5.5 inch. But the main reason I switched is because I make cards for people at work. And there are over 25 people that sign these cards, and there's just simply not enough room on a 4.25 by 5.5 inch card. So 5x7 it is. Yes, I use more cardstock. C'est la vie. It's okay. It's just paper. Anyway, so that is a 6x6 stencil. I routinely cut panels that are either 5x7 or 5.5 by 8.5 and do my techniques on them and then cut them down to the size that I need. My favorite stitched panel dies are the Honeybee Stamps A7 double stitched rectangles. I adore those. See, I am better at spraying this time. I think it's because I unclogged the end. The first one I hadn't done a practice spray of the distress spray. It had been a long time since I'd used it. It's a good thing I was reorganizing. How many of you are reorganizing during this quarantine time? Shifting, shuffling, digging through your stash. There are so many things in my stash that I have had great intentions for, but not touched since they came in my door and I put them in their appropriate place in my system. I cannot believe I have not been using my distress spray. It's the only color I have, the Picket Fence. Here I'm comparing the first one I did with the darker blue background and the one with the ink blended background. And I think that the darker blue solid cardstock background looks far more like a starry night. And the second one I did looks more like the ocean. The first one could also be a galaxy, but I suppose starry night and galaxy are pretty much the same thing. So if you've been watching my videos for long or been following my blog for long, you know that I really am encouraging everyone to stop using foam tape and fun foam in their cards because that is not biodegradable. And our cards are paper, so ideally they should be able to be recycled or composted. And I have been using coaster blanks in place of that because I do like the stability it provides to my cards and I like the extra dimension. And you can die cut this stuff. You can use any adhesive and it's cheap, very cheap. You can actually even use the coasters you get at the bars and things. I don't think they stop you from taking them home. If they have advertising on them, they probably got them for free to begin with. Anyway, I'm using my ATG gun to apply coaster blanks to the backs of all these different panels. And I have a piece of, what would that be, 10x7 scored in half at 5 to make a 5x7 card. And these I cut, that is an ink blended panel that I ink blended the same way as I did before I stenciled on this particular panel. And I am adhering this all together, so that's what that one looks like. Here is the finished card. I created the scene with the Smores Bonfire stamp set from Hero Arts and the coordinating dies. I also added a cute cinnamon on the inside. These were all Copic colored and die cut with their coordinating dies. It came out, I think this stamp set came out with the wildly popular Lakeside kit in August of last year. I hope you enjoyed this card. I really enjoyed making it. Did you like my video? Did you hit the thumbs up button? Have you subscribed to my channel? Please do all of those things before you leave, and don't forget to leave me a comment below. If you're interested in any of the supplies I used in this video, Check out the list in the description box below the video. I hope to see you again soon, and thank you so much for being part of my channel.